Hello, Peak members. So we've been encouraged to do videos that using equipment that you might have in your home. I generally have a lot of workout equipment and weights at home, so I've just altered everything to Skillet. So this normally would be a kettlebell workout. So if you have kettlebells at home, feel free to use those, but we're going to use a Skillet because most of us do have those. I'm going to recommend you play with the weight and play with the size of things. Oh, be marching in place as a warm-up while I talk. But the Skillet is nice because, like I said, we all have them, and I often make the joke with all my cast iron that you don't need a gym, you just need to move your cast iron around. So today we're going to move them around in a more definitive way. I have a large dog who's hanging out, so he may make an appearance. His name is Ranger. He is not doing the workout. So we're going to do this as a 5-round circuit, so Skillet circuit, and you're going to do 5 of each exercise, and if it's something that requires both hands, you're going to do 5 in each hand. So some things it might be 10. And there's 10 exercises. So some you may be familiar with, some you may not be. The first one is swings, so we're going to do them as a kettlebell swing. So I'm going to recommend you hold. Also, before you practice this, do what I did and make sure you don't put a hole in your ceiling when it's over your head. So you're going to hold, you can either hold the handle of the Skillet, but that makes it a little bit unwieldy. If you're doing double hand swings, you can just hold on to, actually I think I did it this way, hold on to the Skillet, and then you're just going to do it like a regular kettlebell swing. So when we do a kettlebell swing, you're going to hinge at the hips and let the weight of the Skillet or kettlebell come down to like where it's almost going to hit you, and then you're going to hinge back, and then you're going to straighten, drive forward with your hips and let your arms float up. So you want to let your hands rest and float. The Skillet should feel weightless at this point, and then you're just going to let it arc back down and straighten. And you're kind of almost like you're about to squat down and you stand back up. Your back should stay straight. Head and back and neck are all in one line. If you're not sure if you're all in a line, I don't think I have a, hang on. I don't have a broom, but take a broom and put it behind your back of your head, at the top of your back, and then right above your hips, and everything should be in line. So when you swing down, all of that should stay in a line, and then you'll know if you're like curling down on your back, because you want to keep your back straight. So make sure, especially since you're using a Skillet, if whether you're used to using kettlebells to do swings or not, make sure you're standing farther apart than normal, because you don't want to hit yourself with the Skillet in the knees. That's unpleasant. So you can do the swings holding the bottom. You can do single arm swings. If you're going to do single arm swings, then I want you to do 5 in each hand. I don't recommend with a Skillet that you alternate. Just do 5 and then switch. So you're going to just swing. So it's the same concept. You can do single or double hands, whatever is comfortable. I recommend, again, any of these, figure out the movement and then start your workout. So that's the kettlebell swings. Next, we're going to do zippers. So in an effort to not hit anything with the handle, I'm going to have my handle up, and these are like a deadlift. You're going to squat down, and then you're going to raise it up in a single line. So you're going to squat down, touch it to the floor, and then bring it straight up like you're doing an upright row. Flip it at your chest. Be careful of the handle, and then push it straight up and then down. So you come down, your back, same thing, stays straight. You're just sinking straight down. Back is straight. You come up, push up. So you're going to do 5 of these. The dog is watching worriedly. I think that's 5. So those are zippers, because you're going straight up and down. Next is halos. Try not to hit yourself or anything else in the head. You're going to hold the Skillet in front of you, and you're going to come around your head. You want to keep your elbows and arms in close to your head. Bring the skillet as close around your head as you can. This is really good for your upper back, good for your triceps, and just overall shoulder girdle area. You want to keep your elbows in, not out. That's going to put a strain on your shoulders. So elbows in. So we're going to do 5 to one side for one set. We'll call that 5. And then 5 to the other side. Again, you can do this without weight a couple times to get used to the movement and see how any of these feel. For this one, you can do it higher too. That's really just going to work your arms, but try to get it as close to your head as you can. Anyone with a ponytail, it's going to mess up your ponytail, but that's okay. So we're going to do 5 of those on each direction. Then we're going to do tricep extensions. So we're going to, again, hold our arms in close to our ears. We're going to have our skillet behind us and come straight up. Elbows, arms are close into our ears. Before you do that, also make sure you're not going to hit your ceiling, but we're going to come straight up. So we do 5 of these. The dog is not impressed. I think that's 5. So 5 of those. If you have a really light weight and you're like, wow, this is super easy, you can just hold it in one hand and go straight up. If you don't want to go over your head for these, you can do just a regular extension. So hips back and just extend out behind you. 5 on each side. Next, we're going to do upright rows. So these are pretty easy. Shoulders are down, back's straight. You're just holding onto your skillet and you're just going to bring your skillet up high. Keep your elbows down. We don't want to be up here. Keep your elbows down. So you do want to kind of chicken wing out, but you don't want to come up too high. It's going to put stress and pressure on your shoulders. So we would do 5 of these. 3. It's really weird to do this by myself and talk. Hopefully you're enjoying it. So 5 upright rows. Next, we're going to do figure 8s, and you can combine them, the figure 8s, with just, I call them around the world. I'm sure they have a real name. You can do them together. Be careful. I have done these with kettlebells and hit myself in the knee. It hurts a lot, so be careful with this movement. So you can combine them or you can do them all at once. So the figure 8s, you're just gonna weave your skillet in between your legs. You can do this with the handle. I find it harder to do it with the handle, so I like holding the upper end of the skillet. You have a little bit better handle. So you can do just 5 figure 8s in one direction and then 5 in the other if you want. And then you can do 5 around the world in one direction. And then the other way. If you want to be fancy, if you are willing to risk injuring yourself, as I have done, if you're comfortable with those, you can combine them. So you can do 1 figure 8 and then 1 around the world and do that 5 times in each direction. So 2. This involves coordination. If you're really bored, it could be a good option because it gives you something to think about and pay attention to. I don't know if that's 4 or 5, so we'll call this one 5. And then same thing, you're going to go the other way. Make sure that as you're bending forward, same thing with all of the things, you don't want to be like hunched over. You want to swing your hips back like someone's pushing your hips. Hinge back, back is flat, and then straighten up with the hips. If your back bothers you, then I'd recommend doing all your figure 8s, then all of the around the world. Next is overhead press. So this one's just pretty basic. Hold your skillet however you want. The big thing is that you want your thumb towards the back. So I'm not holding it with my hand out or facing me. I'm holding it with my fist out. and I'm gonna go just straight up. Again, arm stays in line. You want it close to your ear. That's gonna protect your shoulder. A lot of times people kind of come out, this is an exaggeration, but they let it come out, especially if it's a heavy weight, and that's gonna cause problems for you. So we're gonna do 5 on each side. 3, 4, 5, and then the other side. I'm gonna try not to hit myself in the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are pretty easy. And then next we're gonna do sometimes they're called single leg squats, sometimes they're called like stationary lunges, whatever you're calling them. And I'm wearing socks, so hopefully I don't fall down. All right, so you can hold your skillet like you would for a goblet squat, and you're just gonna step forward and you're gonna sink down. Try to touch your knee to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your back stays straight, head is forward. Make sure that your front knee stays behind your toes and your back knee is dropping straight down and you're not collapsing either one. Ideally, your upper leg should be parallel to the floor, which mine is not. So clearly not going all the way to the floor. If you have knee problems, go as far as you can safely. My knee tends to do a little fancy thing, so I don't always go down as far as I would like to or is ideal. So work within your injuries. If something hurts you or you have a twinge, don't do it or modify it. A lot of these are hard to modify. So if there is a modification, I've told you, although with the zippers, same thing. If you don't want to go all the way over your head, you can come up and just go straight out with it. Or you can just come up straight into an upright row. So whatever works for the zippers. And then the last one is Sumo Deadlifts. So you want a wider stance than a normal deadlift. Backs are straight, hips are under shoulders, and you're gonna hinge back a little bit. Ideally, your lower legs are parallel or perpendicular to the floor, but knees stay behind your toes and you're just gonna go down and then straight up. So same with everything, back is straight and we hinge. Our hips should be rotating at the same time as our shoulders. A lot of people with deadlifts will like hinge back and then drop, or they'll drop and I don't know, but they don't line up. So your hips and shoulders should be going at the same time. Chest is open, shoulders are down and back. So you want that feeling of being like a big silverback gorilla and your just chest is out. As you drop, you want to keep that chest forward. Back is straight, that whole alignment. So that is our workout. You have a couple options. The way I've set it up is to do 5 sets of 5 or 5 rounds of 5 reps each. So you're going to work your way through each of the 10, and then with 5 reps in each one. Anything that has 2 hands or 2 directions, it's 5 of each. And then you're going to do that 5 times. If you want to make it a more involved workout, you can do 10 sets or 10 rounds through the circuit. You can also challenge yourself different ways. So I did a variation on this for my thinner winter group. You can do different things for time. So you can either, if you decide you just love this workout and you want to do it a couple times, see if you can do it faster every time. Time yourself with your friends, or even within the workout. So if you're doing 5 rounds of the circuit of each set or each exercise, see if by the end you're faster than the first time around. The only thing that I'm going to suggest with that, if you're trying to go for time, is go as fast as you can, safely and reasonably. So if you are, I don't want you to be, I'll use something that doesn't weigh anything, doing your halos like to the point that you're not really getting any benefit out of it. You're not doing the form properly. So you want to make sure, you can go quickly and keep your form. So go as fast as you can safely and keeping your form if you want to challenge yourself. Or, don't rest in between every round. When I do these, a lot of times I'll do 2 and then I'll rest, and then I'll do 1 and then rest, and then the other 2, or I'll do 1 and then rest, and then the middle 3 in a row. So play with that, see how much, harder you can push yourself. At home, it's tough. We may not have something very heavy, but work up maybe on a heavier weight. If you do a round with your small skillet and you're like, oh wow, this is so easy, then the next time you do it with a heavier one. Or you're doing 5 or 10 of these 10 rounds, so the first round maybe do a lightweight skillet, and then your next heavier skillet. If you're a crazy person like me and you have lots of cast iron, you can get to, I have a big, I call it the Hulk, a big round like paella cast iron skillet that I could probably stop bullets with, and that thing would be the heaviest one until I get into the Dutch ovens. But I don't think I could do these with that. But anyway, so play with the weights, play with how much time it takes you, play with how much you're resting in between. Make it harder for yourself whatever way you need to. So just to do a quick kind of run through of what it looks like, I'm not going to do every exercise 5 times, but just to get, so you can write it down. We're going to start with swings. So we're going to do 5 swings, and I will do 5 of those. Make sure you've got your nice form and you're just swinging, driving with the hips. Make sure the hips stop. You don't want to let them come too far forward. So there's swings. Then we're going to do zippers. So we touch and go up. Be careful of your handle. Don't hurt yourself in the face with it. So that's zippers. And then halos. I'm just going to go a couple on each side. Make sure you're staying close to your head, and then go both ways. We always want to work both sides. Then extensions. So same thing. You're extending out. Be careful of where the handle's going. And then upright rows. Those are pretty easy. So we just come straight up. I like when I write these to come up with a couple that aren't that hard. I mean, you're still working your upper back and your shoulders, but it's not as bad of cardio, so you can rest a little bit. And then we have our figure 8s. You can do these alone, or you can do them combined with the next one, which is the around the worlds. Make sure you're going both directions. Try not to hit yourself in the knee. So you want to be focused on what you're doing while you're doing it so that you don't hurt yourself. Then we have overhead press. Same thing, keeping our arm close into our body, and we're just pushing straight up. And then other side. Try to hold it in the same way on both sides. Then we have our single leg squats or lunges, however you want to call them. Try to get to the floor. These are hard for me and I hate them, but we need to do them. I should probably have put them at the beginning so we can get them out of the way. Make sure the knees don't twist. And then our deadlifts. So backs are straight, chests are out. We sink down, back stays straight. We come up, ooh, keep our arm down. These you'll want to see if you can get a heavier weight. But even without much weight, a deadlift is still good for your hips, low back, and all that good stuff. So that's the basic. Like I said, you want to do 5 rounds of 5 reps. or you can do 5 rounds of 10 reps. You can do 10 rounds of 5 reps. You can change it up however you want. It's a variation on the Filthy 50 exercises. And then when you're done, you always want to make sure that you're stretching. So there's not a whole lot of legs on this one, but you want to, at the end, stand wide, and you can just drop and hang. If you can touch the floor, your back still stays straight. And you want to just feel the stretch on your inner hamstrings. Then you can walk to the side. I realize I'm out of the camera now. But we're going to walk to both sides, stretching that hamstring. Come back to the middle. Put your hands on your thighs above your knees, and then you're going to push straight up, which helps protect your back. So you want to hold those for at least 30 seconds to get that nice stretch. You can breathe into the stretch. See if you can get a little bit deeper. The next one for quads, you're going to take your opposite foot in your hand and straighten up. And the reason you want to take your opposite foot is because if you take the same foot, you run the risk of pulling your knee out to the side, which is really bad for it. So if you grab the opposite knee, it would be really hard for me to, without falling down, pull my knee the wrong way. So it's just a safety measure. If you know that you can safely pull it with the same hand, then go for it. If you can't reach your foot, you can put your foot up on something. So, well, you can't see if I put it on the table, but just up against the wall, and you can kind of shift into the wall and still stretch the front. Stretching the rotator cuff is always good. So you can either go completely against the wall and push away and roll out. Don't bring your arm any higher than parallel. Then that's going to bother your shoulder. You can be lower, but higher isn't good. Or you can just grab onto the edge of something and roll away. Either one works. And then just a little bit of neck stretching is always good. So we tilt to the side. We can turn and look over our shoulder, turn our eyes to either side, tilt our heads up. If you want a better stretch for your neck when you turn your head up, you can bring your jaw out like Marlon Brando. And that engages your scalenes in your neck a little better. And when you tuck your chin in, really elongate the back of your neck. Feel like you could just really lengthen and stretch the back of your neck. And then just some shoulder exercises. You can bring them up and bring them down. You can curl them in, hollow out your chest, curve your back, and then open, bring your shoulder blades together, open up your chest. You can do each of those. I usually do each of those about 5 or 6 times. You can do those as a warm-up. You can do them as a cool down, whatever works. So that is our quick little skillet circuit. If you have any questions, you can comment on the video. My name is Kia Hanning. I teach Tai Chi and strength and mobility and sometimes synergy and the cycle class, one of the cycle classes. So you can tag me in a post if you have a question or you need, more instruction or an alternate option. And that's it. I'm going to be doing some other videos. So stay tuned. Good luck. Thanks.